Friends, now we are going to discuss the clustering concept for performance optimization in Express application. So basically, what is clustering? So clustering means utilizing the multiple CPU cores to handle the more requests. And Node.js runs on a single threaded event loop, means it uses only one CPU core by default. So that we makes the use of clustering to enable multiple instances of our application, each running on a separate core. Okay, so clustering is basically used to handle a large number of simultaneous requests by distributing the workload across the multiple CPU cores. And if one worker crashes, other workers continue serving the requests. So it has better fault tolerance. And we use clustering for scalability also. It makes our application scale horizontally to maximize the system resources. Okay, so let's discuss this with the basic code. So for this we need to import the cluster module and OS module. Both are inbuilt modules. So we do not need to use npm i cluster or npm i OS module. Okay, these are inbuilt modules. So firstly we will import the cluster module. Why we need to import the cluster module? Because it will enable the clustering in Node.js. For enabling the clustering in Node.js. Okay, const cluster require. This is how we import the cluster module. Now we need to import the OS module. Import the OS module. Why? To access the system related information like CPU, like the number of CPU cores, to access the system related information like the number of CPU cores. Okay, so const, we need to find the number of CPU cores. Why we need to find the number of CPU cores? So that each CPU core can get the instance of our application. This is what is the concept of clustering. Require OS dot CPUs. This is how we find the length of CPUs. Dot length. Okay. And the length of our CPUs, total number of CPUs, will come in this num CPUs variable. Okay. Now we need to check. What we need to check? We need to check if the current process is the master process that is responsible for managing the workers. Okay. Check current process is the master process. And master process is responsible for managing workers. So check if cluster dot is master. Okay. If it is a master, we need to create a worker process for each CPU core available. We need to loop to create one worker process for each CPU core available. Suppose there are 16 CPU cores available. Suppose the length of CPUs is 16. So there will be 16 worker process. Okay. For let I is equals to 0. I is lesser than num CPUs. I++. Cluster.fork. So what it will do? It will fork a new worker process. Okay. Now we will console a message, logs a message to indicate that master process is running. Once master process is running, it will create worker process. Okay. Based on the length of our CPUs. Console. We will write master process is running. Master process is running. Okay. And we will write forked workers. So the number of workers will come here based on the length of our CPUs. Okay. And suppose the work of our is master process is completed. Okay. Now we will go to else block. Okay. So here we need to create import the express first, import express and create app instance. Const express is equals to require express const app is equals to express. Okay. So we need to start the server on a worker process. App.listen on 3000 console worker. Each worker process has its process ID, that is PID. Okay. It will be displayed here and on port 3000. Okay. Now what we need to do, we can define a sample route to handle requests. App.get. We will take a root path to res.send, right, hello from server. Okay. Then we will write its process ID. Wait. Okay. Okay. So let's run it. So the length of our CPUs, it will get printed here. Master process is running, forked, then our length of CPUs. Then after that, we will create a app instance and each worker process will get printed here. Its PID will get printed here. Then we can check on the browser. We will give this root path and that message will come hello from server, then process ID. Okay, so we can see here if cluster.is master. In this case, we are getting message as master process is running, forked 16 workers. So our length of our CPUs is 16 here. Okay, so the CPU length is 16, so it is getting 16 printed here. So what it has done, it has created clusters.fork, it has created 16 process workers. Okay, you can count it. So there are 16 workers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so there are 16 workers based on our CPU length. Okay, so now each worker is printed here. Each process ID of each worker is printed here. Worker 2612 is running on port 3000. Worker 27384 is running on this port number. Okay, so these all workers are printed, and each is taking its one CPU core to run the our application. So clustering has enabled multiple instances of our application, each running on a separate core. Okay, so there are 16 cores and each worker is running on each core. Okay, so there are 16 workers running on each core. Okay, so one worker is running on one core, another is another core. Okay, so 16 workers and 16 cores. So now let's check on the web page. So we can see hello from server 29248. Okay, 29248, this worker. Okay, so this is the concept of clustering. And guys, I am sharing my GitHub account, GitHub repository link in my description, and you can get the code from there.